Hello everyone. The question here is which of the following language strictly follows object-oriented concepts? And we are having four options: C++, Java, Python, or none of this. So before going to this question, let's discuss that what are various properties that implemented inside object-oriented programming paradigm. So if any language, if we call that it is an object-oriented programming language, then it must use the concept of classes, it must use concepts of objects, it must use the concept of encapsulation, it must use the concept that we called as a data abstraction or data hiding. We can write it as a data abstraction. And it must use the concept of polymorphism, and it must use the concept that called as inheritance, right? Inheritance. So basically, these are very fundamental properties of any object-oriented programming paradigm. Now, if we why we have written this point that objects, classes, encapsulation, data abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance, because here in the question they are asking about strictly, as you know that C++, Java, Python, all are object-oriented languages. All these three languages are object-oriented, you know it. But which of the following is strictly, right? It means that we need to answer in the terms that follows all these properties. So let's first talk about C++. So if we talk about C++ is not strictly, it is not strictly object-oriented programming language. Why not strictly? Because here we can create classes. Here what we can do, here we can create, you can say that class, or we can code without creating class. Basically, in C++, we can code without creating classes. That is why we are not saying that C++ is strictly. If we talk about Java, then in Java language, some primitive data types we can declare that is not considered as an object. Some usual declaration of data variables like int, like byte, like long. These are usual data variables. So you can call it them primitive data types. They are primitive data types which we can create inside Java, but int, byte, and long they are not objects. They are not objects. And according to the rule of object-oriented language, object-oriented programming paradigm, the rule says that object-oriented constructions must be used. Constructor must be used. But here it is not using that. That is why, because of these primitive data types, which is not using constructors, which is not objects, so it is also not strictly. Yes, it is object-oriented language, but not strictly, because we need to answer here also strictly. Getting it? Third one is Python. Now, if we say that Python, so there is one property that is encapsulation, and Python doesn't follow encapsulation. Python does not follows encapsulation, right? Why it is so? Because there is no concept of private keywords in Python, and due to that encapsulation, that is a property called as method overloading, or here we can wrap up the data and use them in a single data frame, in a single data unit, which is not possible here in the Python. And due to this very fundamental property of object-oriented programming, that is encapsulation, Python doesn't follow that. That is why it is not strictly object-oriented. So correct answer is none of this. For example, some languages like Smalltalk, we can call this language pure object-oriented, which strictly follows all these concepts, right? So Smalltalk is one of the language which is we can call them as a object strictly follows object-oriented concepts, correct? But C++, Java, Python, they are OOP. They are 100% object-oriented language. But strictly, because we need to answer in terms of strictly, that is why option D, none of this is answered. If on the place of D option, small talk will be there, we can correct small talk. But it is not so. That is why option D is the correct answer. I hope the question was interesting, very informative. So hope the concept is clear. Further, if you have any doubt or any confusion or any query, put it in the comment section. Do subscribe us, like the video for more such videos. And if you have any doubts or queries from your side, you can comment it in the comment section. We are going to provide solution as early as possible. Thank you so much, guys. Have a very nice day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.